Good afternoon, preschool and children's volunteers. Again, I just want to say thank you for your dedication on a weekly basis. God is really bringing to Bellevue a lot of new families. I've talked about that this week in my weekly update. This coming Sunday, as we kick off the fall series of Financial Peace, you need to be aware that your class will, probably about 90% sure that your class will have a visitor. Please make sure that you greet those kids at the door, you greet those families at the door, you communicate truth to them, introduce yourself. This is a new place. They're not going to know who you are. They don't know what you're about. So help that child transition into your room by helping that mom and dad feel comfortable about leaving them in your care. Today I want to touch base just for a couple of minutes about an issue that we all need to be aware of, and that's evacuation plans. In each of your classrooms, located near the exit door, there is a paper that has some information about evacuation plans. Here at Bellevue, we really have three types of evacuation. One would be a tornado evacuation. In 99% of the cases, if there is a tornado drill, you will be notified via verbal communication or an intercom communication. We do know that there are some areas in our hallways that cannot hear those things properly, so probably someone would come and knock on your door and say, hey, we need to evacuate the room, there's a tornado. If that happens, you need to move your children that are in your care as quickly as possible to an interior hallway, not by a window. You may say, well, what about my room? Go to your room and consider, where would I evacuate? If you're on the second floor, you're going to have to evacuate to the first floor. Again, it's the interior hallway, not adjacent to a window. That's pretty much what you need to remember. Secondly, you always need to make sure that you get all the kids that are in your care evacuated. Guys, anytime we have to deal with an evacuation, it's going to cause a little bit of panic, and we want to keep those kids as safe and as calm as possible. Another type of evacuation would be a fire drill evacuation. Now, let me clarify. We are not going to do a fire drill on Sunday morning. If there is a fire alarm issued, you need to exit the building as if the building is burning. There's not going to be a fire drill on Sunday morning. So if you hear the alarm go off, exit the building. How? You would need to exit from the second floor down to the first floor, out the closest exit door, and remember, those doors can be pushed open. That's when the alarm sounds. You get out the closest exit and get across the nearest sidewalk to the parking lot. That's all you have to remember. Once you're there, keep all your kids together, account for them all, and make sure everybody's there. My staff will make sure that the building is clearly evacuated before we exit the building. Technically, we have about 4 minutes, we are told, to properly evacuate a building in a fire alarm situation. We've practiced this many times behind the scenes, and it's ample time. We just want to make sure that you feel confident. Then the third type of evacuation is a little bit unique. We've never had to deal with this, and I pray we don't. But we do live in an interesting day, and that would be an intruder evacuation. In that situation, in an intruder evacuation, that means there is some type of fear in an area of our church, and we feel like we need to either close off a wing and keep you in the wing or evacuate a wing. When that happens, you will be given clear, direct instructions from a staff member wearing this type of a name badge. Every Sunday you see me, I'm wired into our church's security. Andy Willis and his team do an excellent job on a weekly basis making sure that you and the children in your classroom are safe. But sometimes we have to be prepared for the worst case scenario. So we're just trying to remind you that if it is an intruder evacuation, you will be given clear directions on what to do by someone with an official church name tag. If that happens, please listen, please follow their direction, Don't assume that you know more than they do about what's going on. Just follow their direction, and it will make it a much safer environment for all of us. Thank you for what you do. And as I finish up today, I want to remind you, the best way that we can combat any kind of issues to have to evacuate is asking for God's safety and protection every Sunday morning. I do that when I come in the doors. I begin praying around this facility, praying for you and praying for the kids that God would provide us and grant us safety every Sunday. We will continue to do that. Thank you for all you do. If you have questions, please give us a call.